We're here with Dr. Carrington at Lake Hamilton Family Medicine here in Hot Springs, Arkansas, right off Airport Road. We got some questions for you. And it's all about COVID, the new vaccine. We were hoping you could enlighten us a little bit. For instance, one of the questions that I hear a ton is, what is a virus specifically? And why is this one, COVID, so much different than the other ones in the past?
So a virus basically is like a parasite. So it enters through your mouth, through your nose, through your eyes, goes into our cells and uses our cells as a host in order to replicate. Viruses can't replicate on their own. They attack humans, they attack animals, they attack plants, other bacteria. So they have to have something to feed off of and to live off of. Why it's different than others is it's actually a coronavirus that's been around for years. So the common cold is a type of coronavirus, but this one's it's a lot more deadly. You don't really hear people dying from a cold, from the normal coronavirus. This one's about 6 to 10 times more deadly than the actual flu, the common flu. It affects all ages, from newborns to 100-year-old people, just like the flu. Symptoms are pretty similar to the flu, but this really affects all organs of the body. And then especially you get compromised, through your respiratory system, breathing wise, which does make it a lot more deadly than the flu. So,
Okay, 6 to 10 times more deadly?
6 to 10 times more deadly, yeah.
That is crazy. Okay, so the new vaccine that is out, the mRNA vaccine, what I'm hearing is this is a different type of vaccine, correct?
So yeah, it's not the same that we normally have, but it's been around since the 1990s. They've used it in many different trials with animals. This is actually the first time we've used it in humans. But basically what makes it different is an old vaccine, you take a virus, you grow it in a chicken egg, and then you cut off its arm and you inject it into your body. And then your body makes antibodies on that arm of the virus. With this, it uses messenger RNA, which basically, not to get too complicated, they take the virus, the coronavirus, and they take its DNA and sequence it out and then make a messenger RNA to make the spike protein.
So just a part of
the
it.
virus. So just a part of it. So everybody's seen the round ball that is the coronavirus, and it has the little protein, the spikes all the way around it. So basically, a messenger mRNA vaccine, you get injected with it, and then your body has a cell that makes that spike protein on the cell, and your body's immune system makes antibodies against that spike protein. So the next time you come in contact with that spike protein, hence the coronavirus, you've got antibodies there ready to fight it, ready to kill it, so you don't get sick.
Wow.
So it's pretty similar. It's an immune response, just like the other vaccines. Your body forms antibodies against an arm, a leg of the virus. This just happens to be the spike protein on the virus.
So what you're saying, it's not a live virus.
Not a live virus. Cannot cause coronavirus. So if you get the vaccine, you're not going to get the coronavirus.
Because it's just a part. It's
just a part. It's just a protein.
That's crazy.
Of the virus, kind of like an arm or a leg.
Okay.
So it can't come back to life.
Okay. Now, one thing that a lot of people are really concerned about is how fast this vaccine came to be. Is this something that we should be alarmed about?
Well, again, this whole technique's been around for like 30 years. So they were kind of waiting on something like this to happen in order to put it into action. The different thing with this vaccine is that whenever we do vaccine trials or drug trials, they go in phases. And usually you have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. With this vaccine, basically they did phase 1, 2, and 3 all at once. The trials were big. The Pfizer vaccine trial had over 40,000 people in it. Moderna's vaccine trial had over 30,000 people in it. So you're talking about big numbers.
Yes.
It went quick as far as getting it in trial and everything. But again, they had the technology available since the 90s. So it was just a matter of getting the DNA sequence of the virus and putting it into a messenger RNA so we could come up with the vaccine. So that didn't take any time.
That's
They were able to
insane.
do that in January. And then by March, they were able to manufacture it, get people into the vaccine trials and start this. So, I mean, we've got 9 months of research behind it already. So, yeah, that is quick, but the biggest thing when they talk about Operation Warp Speed is the manufacturing of it, making enough virus or making enough vaccines, and getting it out to the world.
In mass.
So that's kind of the warp speed of it.
Okay.
But as far as the whole trials, we've had plenty of time with the trials to learn, is this vaccine safe and does it work? Long-term wise, we don't know. I mean, you've seen things, I'm sure, on Facebook of, growing ears out of your toes and whatnot from the vaccine. None of that's true, but the answer is long-term, we don't know. But as with other vaccines, we have not seen any long-term consequences, and so we should not with this one.
Okay. What are the side effects of the vaccine for COVID?
So I've read that it's anywhere between a flu vaccine and a shingles vaccine. So what that means is, local injection site, little redness, your arm may be tender, low-grade fever, chills, body aches. I mean, basically kind of low-grade flu-like symptoms. On average, it lasts about 2.5 days. So.
Okay. And then there are people that are wondering if they should get the vaccine if they're pregnant.
Honestly, I can't answer that right now. There's just not been enough trials with pregnant patients, with lactating patients to know. So that would be something that I would, talk to your OB about and see if, you in particular would benefit or be eligible for it.
So talk to your doctor if you are concerned and
Correct.
you think you should get or you're concerned about getting the vaccine and you're pregnant.
Correct.
Perfect.
So right now it's ages 16 and up, and that's what it's recommended for. And there's really not a recommendation if you're pregnant or lactating.
Okay.
So it's talk to your doctor.
What about people with allergies? Should they get the COVID vaccine?
So just your everyday seasonal allergies, dust, mold, whatnot, yes, that's fine. If you want to pre-medicate with Benadryl or take a Tylenol before you get the vaccine, that's fine as well. If you have a history of anaphylactic reactions, you get a bee sting or something like that, and you swell up, you have trouble breathing, you have to have an EpiPen, that would be more critical. I think if I was going to do that and I'd had an anaphylactic reaction before or something, I would want to be in a controlled setting, in a hospital, something where they had an EpiPen on standby in case I did have a reaction to it. But in general, just if you have allergies, no, that's not a contraindication to getting the vaccine.
So that you're good to go, normal allergies.
Absolutely.
More severe, possibly, once again, talk to your doctor.
Yeah, and, be in a controlled setting where you've got a healthcare professional there on standby in case you do have an allergic reaction. But in general, again, just general allergies, no, totally safe.
Okay. Then, I've heard this a lot. Do we really need to get 2 different vaccines for COVID? We only need 1 flu shot.
Right. So with the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine, which are the 2 available right now, assuming that Moderna gets approval, which should be today, both of those require 2 vaccines. Okay. So the Pfizer one is get your initial shot and then 21 days later, get your other one. Moderna is, I think, 28 days later, you get your second shot. So in the studies, if you only get 1 shot, it's about 50% effective. If you
Okay.
get your second shot, it's about 90 to 95% effective. So I will be getting 2 shots.
Significant
Yes.
difference between the 2.
Big time. It just
Absolutely.
elicits a stronger immune response, basically. So you have more antibodies, so you have more protection, innate natural protection against the virus.
It's like the first time for the practice round.
Yeah, more or less.
And then you go to the pros.
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. All right, I have one more question for you. Maybe 2.
Okay.
Maybe 2. Do I still have to wear a mask after I'm vaccinated?
Absolutely. So, again, this isn't 100% effective, You know, you get both vaccines, 90 to 95% effective. So you could be one of the unlucky ones that still gets it, even if you get the vaccine, just like the flu virus. You know, you get your flu vaccine, you can still get the flu. Typically, if you do get the flu and you've had a flu vaccine, it's not going to be near as bad. It won't last as long. You know, we have not had enough time really to see if that's going to be the case with this vaccine, but I would assume so. But still, in general, you do got to wear your mask. They say that it's going to take about 70 to 85% of the population to get vaccinated before we can develop a herd immunity. So maybe, you know, sometime next summer, the mask will go away, hopefully.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So the last question, this is the last one because this is kind of important. I'd like to know, and I know a lot of other people want to know, how long are we protected after the COVID vaccine? Is this something like measles, mumps, and rubella, where once you have that, once you're a kid, you might need a booster when you're an adult, or is this a regular flu shot?
So the quick answer is we don't know. You know, what we hope is that it'll last at least a year. If you get infected with the coronavirus, you know, the virus itself, they say you've got immunity for 3 to 6 months, but the vaccine actually generates a stronger immune response than if you actually have the virus. So that's why that they're hoping that it will last for a year, maybe even longer, maybe lifetime. But again, we don't know. So
okay, well, that is super helpful. Thank you so much for
Sure.
taking some time to answer these questions.